All right, let's get right into it. We're going to explore a really provocative idea today, a theory that suggests our supermodern, high-tech digital world actually looks a whole lot like the Middle Ages. Sounds crazy, right? Well, let's see.
I mean, you know that feeling. You're scrolling, you're posting, you're building a community. But at the end of the day, it's all happening inside these massive walled gardens that someone else owns, and you're just playing by their rules.
Well, what if that feeling isn't just a feeling? What if it's the actual design of a whole new kind of economic system we're all living in?
That system has a name, and it's called Techno-Feudalism. And yeah, the people who came up with this idea argue that we've already quietly slipped past capitalism into something else entirely.
Okay, so here is the absolute core of the idea. It's this shift from profit to rent. See, in classic capitalism, companies compete to make better products to sell you. But in techno-feudalism, the real money is in just owning the space. It's about collecting a fee, a rent, just for the right to exist on their digital land.
And this quote just nails it. A market is supposed to be a public square, right? Open for business. A fiefdom, though, that's private land. It's an estate ruled by a lord who makes up all the rules and can kick you out whenever they want. The argument here is that when you're on a big platform, you're not in a market. You're on the lord's land.
So, if we're living in these digital fiefdoms, who's who in this new power structure? Well, the theory draws some pretty direct parallels to the old-school feudal system.
Let's just walk through this. The new lords are the platform owners, pretty obviously. Their fiefdoms are the platforms themselves. That's the digital land they control. And who are the serfs? Well, according to this theory, that's us, the users, the creators. We're the ones working the land. And the tax, the tribute we pay to be there, it's our data. It's our constant engagement. And for businesses, it's actual money. And here's a really concrete example of that tribute. You know that 30% cut that the big app stores take? The theory says that's not really profit on a product they helped build. It's cloud rent. It's a tax a business has to pay to the Lord just to get access to their digital kingdom and to their own customers. And this whole idea of rent leads us to another really mind-bending point, which is how the very idea of ownership has been completely flipped on its head. Okay, think about something simple, a physical book. When you buy it, it is yours. Period. You can sell it, you can lend it to a friend, you can use it to prop up a table leg. It's your property. No one can tell you what to do with it. But your Kindle library? Totally different story. You don't actually own those books. You have a license, basically permission, to access them. And that permission, that license, could be taken away at any time for any reason. This tiny shift from real ownership to just having access is, well, it's everything. And this is true pretty much everywhere online. You're basically a digital sharecropper. That Spotify playlist you spent years perfecting, that huge following you built, your amazing collection of video games, you're building all this incredible value on land you will never, ever own. All of this creates what the theory calls a precarity of presence. It's just a fancy way of describing that constant, low-grade anxiety that your entire digital life, your friends, your work, your reputation, exist completely at the mercy of the platform. One algorithm change, one violation of a rule you didn't know existed, and poof, it could all be gone.
So if we don't really own anything online, what are we all doing all day, tapping and scrolling on these platforms? Well, the theory has an answer for that too. We're working. For free. So back in the day, corvée was the unpaid labor a serf had to do for their lord. You know, like fixing the lord's roads or harvesting his crops for a few days a year. Today's digital corvée is every single post, every like, every comment, every share. We think of it as just hanging out online. But from a structural point of view, it's the free labor that literally builds the platform's value.
And you can see how this cycle works, right? Step 1, you create something. A photo, a thought, whatever. Step 2, other people engage with it. Step 3, all that constant activity is what keeps the platform buzzing and relevant. And then, the final step, the platform owner just captures and monetizes every ounce of value that all of you just created for them.
So why on earth do we do it? This quote really gets to the core of it. We feel this pressure to keep performing this labor because our entire social life kind of depends on it now. If you stop participating, you become invisible, you get cast out of your own community. That is one powerful reason to keep on working. Okay, last big piece of the puzzle. What about success in this system? I mean, if you just work harder than everyone else, you can still make it big, right? Well, this theory argues that even the rules for success have been totally rewritten.
The promise of capitalism, in theory, was that if you innovated and worked hard, you'd succeed. But in the techno-feudal world, success, I mean really big success like going viral, is often just granted to you by a mysterious, constantly changing algorithm. Your hard work matters, sure, but the final decision maker is a total black box.
And what this creates is a lottery mentality. You have millions of people all creating, posting, and just hoping that this time, this post will be the one the algorithm picks. It's actually a genius way to get millions of people to produce endless amounts of content for free in exchange for a tiny, tiny chance at hitting the jackpot.
So, let's just quickly wrap up the core ideas here. First, the main game has shifted from profit to rent. Second, we're basically acting as digital serfs, performing unpaid labor on platforms that we will never own or control. And finally, success in this system can feel a lot more like winning a lottery than a fair reward for your hard work.
Look, it is a pretty wild way to look at our online lives, no doubt about it. It reframes almost everything we do every day. And it really does leave you with this one final question to chew on. If your attention is the rent you're paying every single day, what are you actually buying?